How's it going, boys, and welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Today I'm with Ryan and we are doing our Europa Euro 2021 predictions.
G'day. Let's get this show on the road. Try and predict the winners of the fucking Euros.
We're going to make this into a wee series. Me, Ryan, probably get some of the other Bravo fellas on here. Every week we'll do our fantasy team as well as checking up on our predictions. So let's get straight into it. Okay, so we'll start on Group A. I've just mixed mine up because I've already done it, so I'm going to reorganise them as I choose. And that's actually set currently how I think it's going to happen. I've got Italy for first, Turkey second,
Yeah.
Switzerland third, Wales fourth.
Okay. So
What's your thoughts?
Wales did last.
Wales are definitely going to be dead last.
Alright. Well, I've replicated your first place. I have Italy in first place of Group A. I think that's a no-brainer. But then the second place is a bit more difficult to predict. Now, if you think
Yes,
back
that's
to last
true.
time, if you think back to last time, Wales made the semi-final.
Yes, that's true. That's very true.
So I'm not going to put them dead last, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Switzerland second, and I'm going to put Wales third.
That's bold call. You know, Turkey have played France twice in the last year and beaten them and drawn with them.
Yeah, but that's a friendly situation. It's completely different.
That's true. That's true. And they've got Burak Yilmaz.
To be fair, if you look at every team, they all have class within them.
They all have. Yes, that's true. That's true. So you've gone Italy, Switzerland, Wales, Turkey.
Yes, that's what I've done.
Okay, that's interesting. Interesting. All right, we'll move on to Group B.
All right.
You want to take this one?
Yep. So, despite how they usually play together, I'm going to put Belgium at first. I'm going to.
Yep.
Now, see, this one's a bit. You know, I find Russia is a bit of a dark horse in this tournament because they do have some class. The Russian league is turning into a strong league, and a lot of the better players from that league are Russian. But despite all that, I am going to put Denmark second. I'm going to put Russia third, and I'm going to put Finland last.
Yes, I've absolutely agreed with that. I think Denmark's actually quite a class team, and they could probably push Belgium if Belgium have an off day.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like they will have an off day. They always do.
Yeah. They're big bottlers on the world stage.
Yeah.
And KDB might not be fit.
It's only a facial injury. He'll just have like one of those masks on.
Have a Batman mask on.
Yeah, exactly.
Group C, what have you gone?
Right. So this one's very hard for me. I'm going to put Aust because I just don't rate the Dutch as a team, and I never have. They, for the last like 4 years, have not impressed me like once, and they have class on their team. I realise that you've got like Memphis Depay, you've got De Ligt, you've got a pretty solid defense, you've got a pretty solid, attack force, but they just never seem to play well together. But despite that, looking at the quality of Macedonia and Ukraine, I'm going to have to put Netherlands at second, and I'm going to put Ukraine third, and Macedonia last.
I'm going Netherlands first. I think those young Ajax players from that Champions League run, like De Ligt, Frenkie de Jong,
Yeah.
and then you've got the Memphises and all that. Like you said, they might actually finally step up and play like they should be. But they have had inconsistent results recently. I've got Austria second. I don't think they were that bad against England.
Yeah.
And they've got Sabitzer and big players like that. Especially if Marko Arnautovic is there, that'll be a help to them as well. Goal scorer. Ukraine have got a couple players that are, like you said, Russian league sort of class players, but I don't think they'll be good enough to beat Austria. And I've gone Macedonia last, which is, I guess, what everyone's predicted.
Yeah. I think Macedonia is sort of that team that everyone looks at as, okay, it's either you or Hungary that are going to finish like dead last within the tournament.
Yeah.
Anywho, or Scotland to be fair. But
Yes, Scotland. Okay, Group D, football's coming home. Do we
Right.
think footy's coming home?
you go ahead then.
I've got England first. which is probably the common guess amongst most people.
Yeah.
Croatia have surely an aging squad now, like they're definitely a lot older than they were at the World Cup a few years ago.
Yeah.
Interestingly, I've gone Scotland in third.
You put Scotland in third. I suppose there are those like young Scottish League players coming through. Like who have they got playing for Scotland in the Scottish League? I feel like there's a couple of like players that are coming through the ranks.
Yeah, definitely a few surely like Celtic and Rangers players who are alright.
Yeah.
And Czech Republic last, because I can't really name anyone that plays for them except Souček.
Yeah. I suppose when you think about it, that Scottish team does have some quality in it. Like you've got Tierney, you've got like McTominay, you've got Ando.
They got Shea Adams up top as well. He could be alright.
Yeah.
Lee Griffiths.
John McGinn. John McGinn's capable of a worldie.
As LT would say, Jog McGinn.
Yeah, I mean, there's some quality within that Scottish team, so I don't blame you for putting them third. It's pretty hard to call.
Have you gone similar, or have you gone Scotland last?
So I've put England in first. I'm still going to have Croatia in second. And I'm going to put Czech Republic in third and Scotland last, because I haven't yet really seen Scotland play as a unit, and with all their players post World Cup. Obviously, like players like McTominay would have been pretty young post 2018 World Cup, and they wouldn't have really been in the world stage as much. So anyway, I'm gonna put Scotland just due to like overall inexperience, to be honest.
Yeah, it's just one of those groups that could go either way, I guess. Like there's a few of them in here where there's always a dark horse or a team that could do better than you expect.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
Group E.
I wanted to put an upset in somewhere, so I guess
Yes,
I did that with the Group A. But
Group E, I've gone Spain, and then that's probably the toughest pick of all the second places except for Group F is Sweden versus Poland.
then
I've gone Sweden. Yeah, Slovakia has actually got some class players as well.
Yeah, that second place is very hard.
I've gone Sweden. I think Sweden as a team are probably better than Poland. Poland have Lewandowski, but he might struggle to get the service that he usually gets at like Bayern Munich or something.
Yeah, but you gotta remember they don't just have Lewandowski.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
They have some class, and I actually had Poland progressing pretty far past the group stage, because you've got players like Zielinski, who's had a great season. You've got Milik, who can complement Lewandowski up front. You've got a solid keeper in Fabianski. I'm guessing Fabianski will probably have the start over Szczesny.
Yes, Szczesny and Fabianski as two class keepers.
You've got that Halit guy. I believe he was a Barnsley player.
You got Zielinski,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Zielinski. Yeah,
Kamil Grosicki.
Bednarek. You've got a good defense. Like,
Yes, and good attack. It's just whether the midfield can step up.
yeah. Anyway, all things considered, I've gone Spain at first. Haven't rated Spain as a team much over the last few years, but I feel like, considering the rest of the group, I feel like they have first place, and it would be a bit of a shock if they didn't get first place. I'm going to put Poland second here, and I'm going to put Sweden third. I'm going to put Slovakia last.
Right, that's a tough group to pick. I'm sure the third place team from there will probably be in the third place teams that will go to the knockout stages still.
Yeah, and I think for me, rather than picking the second place in that group, it's picking the third place in that group, because I'm quite confident with Poland at second, but who knows? I think it's between Sweden and Slovakia for that third place spot.
Yeah, and like we said earlier, with moving on to the group of death, Group F, we think it will be harder for the likes of this group to get a third place progression, as they'll all be taking points off each other, rather than a group like Spain, Sweden and Poland, who can all be grabbing wins and playing a bit more expansive, rather than we think will be a bit more cagey in Group F, due to the quality of those teams.
All things considered, I think we know who's going to be placing fourth in this group.
Rest in peace, Hungary.
I think we have Hungary in fourth. I think that both of us may do that.
Okay, what have you gone for Group F? Because I've gone slightly contentious against what people might think.
Okay, so I've gone France first, I've gone Portugal second, and I've gone Germany third, and Hungary fourth.
I've gone France first, Germany second, Portugal third, and Hungary fourth.
So that's another interesting talking point, is that Portuguese team with all the young folk coming through. You've got João Felix, you've got someone like Bruno Fernandes who hasn't played at that like world class level in a big like world tournament before. It's gonna be very interesting.
I think that Portugal, despite all that I just said about Group F, I think that those top three will all scalp through to the next round. And I think that Portugal's a bigger knockout team than like the likes of Germany, or Portugal, like they did in the last Euros, will step up in the knockouts another notch.
Yeah. It would be nice. It would be nice to see like a Portugal-England final. I think that's an ideal situation. It'll be a very fun final to watch.
Okay, we'll go on to the best third place teams, and this is, I feel, mostly not about the team itself, but more about what group stage they're in.
Yeah.
So obviously I've got Switzerland, Russia, Ukraine, Scotland, Poland, and Portugal. Who have you put in your third best teams?
Yeah, so I have the choice of Wales, Russia, Ukraine, Czech Republic, Sweden, and Germany. And I am going to choose Sweden. I'm going to choose Russia. I'm going to choose Germany. And I'm going to choose the Welsh.
Interesting, cool.
Graying out Ukraine and Czech Republic.
I am going to go for the progressors from Group A, which is Switzerland, Group B, Russia, Group E, Poland, and Group F, Portugal.
So who have you grayed out?
Ukraine and Scotland are gone from Group C and D.
Okay. That's actually interesting because I've grayed out Group and D as well.
Group C and D was that? Sorry.
Yeah, that's the teams I've left out of third place.
Interesting. All right, we'll progress to the knockout stages then.
Yep.
Okay, so we've got round of 16. My first matchup is Belgium versus Poland. For that one, I'm obviously going to take Belgium.
I'm going to take Belgium here.
Are you playing Belgium, Poland as well?
I'm doing Belgium, Sweden.
You're taking Belgium over Sweden?
I will do that. Yes, I will be doing that.
I feel like for both of us, actually, that might be a interesting call, because I think Poland or Sweden on their day could get up against Belgium.
There's a chance. I mean,
there's a chance, but it's not likely.
It's Belgium that we're talking about, but I think that they're too class to bet against. Like, you've got probably the strongest team on paper, apart from France.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's just the way they've played before in the past. That does alter your decision there.
My next game is Italy versus Austria, and I'm going to take Italy from that.
Yeah, fair enough. That's who I'll be taking, and I've got Italy against the Netherlands. So, yep.
Oh, that's an interesting call.
I have Italy going through over the Netherlands, I think. Yeah, again, the Netherlands don't really impress me so much as a team, but you know, it could be interesting again. Like, it always is. So yes, Belgium for the first game. I've got Italy playing Belgium in the quarterfinal.
Yep. So my third game for the round of 16 is France versus Switzerland, and I'm picking France are going to overpower Switzerland pretty easily.
Yeah, and I mean, same for me. I've got France versus Wales, and I think France have that game pretty easily, dare I say.
All right, my next game is Croatia versus Sweden. This is a tough one, I think,
It is actually.
but I think that Croatia will have just enough to get past Sweden to play France in the quarterfinals and the replay of the World Cup final.
Okay. For me, that's Croatia versus Poland.
That is interesting. It's a very tight game.
I have to do the same as you. I think I'm gonna have to take Croatia over Poland here. The reason for that being, I think Poland are quite attacking heavy. I don't think they are going to keep up in terms of defense as far as Croatia is concerned, and I think Croatia have a much better midfield. I would have to put Croatia over Poland. Yes, that's what I'm going to do.
Right, the next quarterfinal qualifiers, we've got Spain versus Russia. And I think that, although Russia beat Spain last World Cup, I'm going to take Spain.
Yep, and I've got Russia and Spain as well. I'm going to take Spain for that, for the reason being that Spain are a quality team on paper, and I think Russia can't compete with the Spanish quality this time out.
Next one is England versus Germany. There's a tough game. I think England are going to just beat Germany.
Yep, I have England versus Portugal.
Oh, that's a tough game. I would probably back the Portuguese.
That changes things significantly, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Ooh. They're both quality teams on paper. They are both very quality. I think, this is quite controversial, but I think just considering the experience of both teams, England have been here before. They've been here before in 2018. 2016, not so much. I think they got knocked out of the round of 16. I think this Portuguese team doesn't have enough experience playing together as the team they'll be in the Euros. That starting 11.
Yeah, they'll probably be a lot different to last Euros team.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're right, England are, but I think the cornerstones of the team have remained the same.
Yeah.
You've got your players like Kane, you've got your players like Sterling, you've got even, dare I say, your players like Trippier who have been here before. So I'm going to have to put England here, because I think just more of their players have been on a world stage game, even if you're just considering the Champions League or, you know, a semi-final in the Champions League or a final in the Champions League. It's been very English dominated over the last couple of years, so I'd have to put England.
Right, for the last quarterfinal spots, I have Netherlands versus Portugal, and I am backing Portugal for their obviously better squad, higher quality players. You got game changers like Ronaldo, Bruno Fernandes, and probably a better defence than the Netherlands.
Yep, totally. I have Austria and Germany in this game. This is, I actually feel rather an interesting game, because I feel like Austria on their day can compete with the Germans, but I think ultimately the Germans will suffice, and that's the reason I'm picking Germany to go through in that game.
Right, the last place for a quarterfinal spot, I have Turkey versus Denmark.
Yeah.
I am picking Denmark to go through and play against Portugal in the quarterfinal.
Okay. I personally have Switzerland and Denmark in that final slot. This will be one of the closer round of 16 games, in my opinion, but I am going to ultimately choose Denmark.
Denmark, they've got Schmeichel, they've got Andreas Christensen, they've got
Christensen.
Christian Eriksen.
Christensen, oh yes.
They've got Eriksen, they've got Yusuf Poulsen, they've got Martin Braithwaite, the absolute hero. Probably got
Yusuf Poulsen
Victor
was
Fisher.
terrible. Yusuf Poulsen was absolutely terrible this season, and so was Braithwaite. I am still going to choose Denmark just because A
They're
lot
better
of
on
the players
paper.
have been there before. I think their team is just better on paper. I'm going to choose Denmark, but I don't think much of their better players, to be honest.
I'm really interested to see what our quarterfinals matchups are compared to each other. So my first one is Belgium versus Italy.
Yep.
That is actually, I think, very hard to call. The Italians' defense versus the Belgium attack.
Yep.
I can't actually call this. I think it might just be Belgium.
Yep.
Would you say the same?
I will say this exact same here. I think this is a Belgian game. I think the Italians. You know what? You say it's about the Italians' defense versus the Belgian attack, but the Italians have a solid attack.
Who is the Italians' attack?
They have Lorenzo
Insigne.
Insigne. They have Immobile. They have who would be flanking on the right? Probably someone like Berardi or
Chiesa, probably.
yeah. And then they have a very, very strong midfield.
Who makes their midfield? Jorginho.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
your year is alright, but yeah. Who else makes their midfield?
Good
You'd
question.
probably be thinking someone along the lines of like Tonali, maybe.
Yeah, Tonali. Yeah, I think that's probably the weakest spot is in midfield because I can't think of any midfielders.
They
Who are
definitely
truly
do.
class.
They've got like Barella, haven't they? Like that Nicolo Barella, he was pretty
Oh
good.
yeah.
He had a pretty good year. And
I still think Belgium. I'm still picking Belgium.
no, it's fair. They also have an attack-wise. I've just been reminded they have Chiesa, who had a very good year with Juve. Verratti.
Yeah,
in the midfield.
Verratti is a good midfielder.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be a very interesting game.
Right,
gonna
who's
choose-
your?
I'm going to choose Italy because I just want to be different. I'm going to choose Italy.
Have you got Italy versus Belgium as well?
Yep. I
Oh, yeah.
chose Italy over Belgium.
Okay, I've got France versus Croatia in my next one, and I think the French are gonna go and smash them.
Yeah. So do I. I have France versus Croatia, and I think France make it all the way. So, France for me as well.
The bottom half of the draw is where we are significantly different. I've got Spain versus England in my first game.
As do I. As do
I
I.
think. Oh, we do have the same game.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be the game of the round.
You really do. Okay.
Yep, I do, and I think England is going to advance. Probably 2-1. 2-1 is my score prediction for that.
Okay. I also think England will advance. As I said before, I don't think much of the Spanish team in recent years. They just haven't glued together the same way that the 2010 to 2012 Spanish team did, with players like Xavi and Iniesta and even players like Torres pretty much in their prime. They haven't quite met that level. In fact, probably far from it, in my opinion. I think the English team outclassed them this tournament, and I think, England to the semi-final for me.
My other quarterfinal is Portugal versus Denmark, and that's a pretty easy pick. I've gone Portugal.
So mine is Germany versus Denmark. So my pick probably isn't quite as easy as yours. I would love to have Portugal in this part of the tournament, but unfortunately I was gifted the great displeasure of having to choose between England and Portugal in the round of 16. I am going to put Germany over Denmark, so we'll have an England-Germany semi-final, which I think is actually very tantalising on paper. Yep, Germany over Denmark for me.
Okay, first semi-final is Belgium versus France. I think that's the same for both of us, and I think we'll probably both pick France, won't we?
I've got Italy versus France.
Oh, yeah, oh yes, you picked Italy to beat Belgium.
So
Do you still
what
have
a
France?
semi-final that could be. But the quality of the French is probably too outstanding for me to choose pretty much anybody over France in this entire tournament, which is probably me hinting at who I think is going to win the tournament, but
Yeah, you really can't go past France as the best team in
you
this
can't go
tournament.
past France, and for that reason I'm choosing France over Italy. France in the final.
I've got England, Portugal in the semi-finals, and I think Portugal, with their big game experience, will get up against England and
I
perform.
disagree because I feel like a lot of the new cornerstones of that team haven't been in the big game. Players like Fernandez, players like João Felix, players like, you know, a lot of those Wolves players may be coming through. Ruben Neves, they haven't been there. Ronaldo has.
I think the likes of Ronaldo, Jose Font,
Jose Font's been there. Yep.
Rui Patricio, they could be the calm heads as well as that experience mixed in with the youth and the talent of João Felix, Bruno Fernandes,
Yep.
all those class players, and I think they could do a job.
Yep. Fair enough. You probably got Nani coming back.
Yeah, you got a very good team.
Yep. Fair enough. So my semi-final is similar, although you can swap the Portuguese out for the Germans. So I have England versus Germany. I do think this is going to be a very close game. But I feel like the performance of the Germans depends on a lot of their players playing the way they should. And one of those players I'd like to name is probably Timo Werner. If he plays the way he should, if he plays the way he can play, I feel the Germans have a very good shot at beating the English. We know they're strong in defense, we know they're strong in midfield. They probably have one of the best midfields in the world, but for some reason my gut is telling me to pick England, so I'm going to pick England to the final.
Yep. Fair enough. Right. The final. Mine is a replay of the Euro 2016.
Final.
France versus Portugal, but this time I think the French are going to get revenge and win the tournament.
Okay. I think the circumstances are very different this time from last time. But then you consider things like the fact that Ronaldo was injured in the last final and they still managed to scrape out the 1-0 win, which is very impressive. Although, my final is different. My final is France versus England. I can hear the people saying it's coming home, football's coming home. As much as I'd love to see that happen, I think exactly as you said before, you can't undermine the talent of the French. But I also said before that I want to pick an upset. So I'm just going to go completely balls to the wall here, and I'm going to say that England win the whole...
England win the trophy.
I'm going to say England win the trophy. And a
Harold
major
Kane.
upset. And a major upset, England win the Euro 2020. So that's
Harold
what I'm
Kane.
doing.
Harold Kane, the Tottenham legend, lifts the Euro trophy. Hope you enjoyed the controversy of our Euros picks, maybe a bit more controversial than Ryan than from myself. But we'll bring you some fantasy football in the next few days. Until then, have a good one.
I'm excited for that.
It's definitely going to be a good competition. I think we'll chuck some prizes into that.
Yeah.
Would be a good idea.
You have to have prizes with fantasy. And there'll be more than
Yes.
2 people this time as well, I'm sure.
Yeah, it should be all 4 of the Bravo lads at least.
Yep. It's going to be a good time.
Alright, see you later.